everybody, it's great to see you again. Well, you know what I mean. Anyways, I want to thank all of you for watching last week's video. I really appreciate it, and I would love to hear how your spiritual exercise experience went. Did you notice a change in the way you did things when you began each new task with that prayer, "Thy kingdom come"? Did you find yourself happier when you focused more on building God's kingdom and less on your own desires? These are some things worth contemplating before we move on to our new topic this week. For me, I can say that praying that prayer and thinking of each new task as building God's kingdom brought a whole new level of meaning to what I was doing. Today, we are looking at St. Augustine's sermon on pastors. Giving a sermon to pastors may seem redundant, like preaching to the choir to the max, but the reality is that we, as Christians, are all both sheep and shepherd in some way. As Bishop of Hippo, St. Augustine wanted to warn his priests that the great honor of being called shepherd came with great responsibility. We'll talk more about that in a moment. For now, let's dive into the text.
You are members of the flock of the Good Shepherd, who watches over Israel and nourishes his people. Yet, there are shepherds who want to have the title of a shepherd, without wanting to fulfill a pastor's duties. True shepherds take care of their sheep, not themselves. This is the principal reason why God condemns the shepherds. They care of themselves rather than the sheep. I must distinguish carefully between two aspects of the role the Lord has given me, a role that demands a rigorous accountability, a role based on the Lord's greatness rather than my own merit. The first aspect is that I am a Christian. The second, that I am a leader. I am a Christian for my own sake, whereas I am a leader for your sake. In addition to the fact that I am a Christian and must give God an account of my life, I, as a leader, must give an account of my stewardship.
Augustine knew all too well that the call to the priesthood was a tall order. It is a call to be both a spiritual father and a doctor of souls. But what makes the priesthood holy is that it is founded on Christ's priesthood. What makes the life of a pastor holy is that it is the participation in the work of the Good Shepherd who laid down his life for his sheep. Christ, the great high priest, not only offered sacrifice on our behalf, but became the perfect sacrifice. This is why without the cross, there is no priesthood. A priest must not only offer, but deny himself and be offered. As we come together at Mass, the priest stands as the leader of the people who have gathered to celebrate this great mystery and offer up their prayers. This great honor demands great humility from the priest who has been called to serve at God's altar. Here in this passage, Augustine is commenting on Ezekiel 34, when the prophet spoke out against the priestly shepherds of Israel for feeding themselves and neglecting their flock. Ezekiel lived 2,500 years ago, and yet, sadly, his words are just as applicable today as they were then. We all have been devastated by countless reports of priests who fed themselves and left nothing for the flock. Their selfishness has left the church aching for spiritual nourishment and healing care. This is why Augustine points out that all of us, even pastors, are ultimately sheep under our one true shepherd, and each of us will have to give an account of our stewardship. So this week, focus on two things. First of all, consider what leadership roles you have as, say, a guardian, a parent, a boss, or a teacher. Whatever it may be, consider how you have been called to shepherd others. Ask yourself whether or not you are willing to lay down your life for others as Christ did for you. We need to be willing to forgive as He forgave us, and lead as He led us. So throughout your week, if you find yourself getting impatient with your children, students, or employees, pray those words of the Our Father. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Secondly, pray for your shepherds. This is especially true for our priests, who need the prayers and support of their people to live out their vocation sincerely. Too often, we rely on the prayers of our priests and forget to pray for them. So this week, remember to pray for Father John and Father Marty, that they may have the grace they need to be holy shepherds. And pray for all those who lead our church, our nation, and our city. Remember that those who lead us carry greater responsibilities than we do, and so they need our prayers. After all, they're just as human as we are, and are all sheep in God's flock. So again, stay audacious for the faith, and leave your comments below if you could. I'll be keeping all of you in my prayers, and I humbly ask that you keep me in yours. See you next week. St. Augustine, pray for us.